Hey, welcome to the best of everything. I am Ruben Paul, and across from me, as usual, the annoying one, the one and only.
You mean the anointed one?
No, annoying.
Oh, annoying.
Annoying
I thought you
one.
said the anointed one.
No.
Oh, okay.
The annoying one.
Oh.
I'm the anointed one. The annoying one, the one and only.
The anointing one.
Mr. Johnny Sanchez.
Yeah. What's up, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Happy Wednesday, man.
Happy Ash Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. How come you don't have the thing on your forehead?
I'm going after.
You are?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
I go over here.
So explain that whole thing to me. I'm not really that familiar with the Catholic religion.
Today is the beginning of the Lenten season with Catholics. So
which is?
It is, we go from Ash Wednesday until Good Friday, which usually somewhere around 40 days. It was the fasting that Jesus did for 40 days prior to his crucifixion. So what Catholics do, it used to be really strict before, where, well, nobody's supposed to eat meat on Friday, that's for sure.
Okay.
But sometimes, years.
So you guys go vegan for a month?
Only on Fridays.
Oh, okay.
You're not allowed to eat meat on Fridays, and I also
or vegetarian.
Yeah, vegetarian, right. So this is why, I don't know if you've ever noticed, and I just found out that this started in 1967 in Cincinnati. The fillet of fish was created for Catholics in 1967, Cincinnati.
Really?
So they would have something to eat on Fridays.
Never knew that.
And if you ever notice,
never knew that.
Right when Lent starts, you're going to start seeing fillet of fish commercials and more, because and all the other ones do it now too, but it was the original was the fillet of fish.
So it was originally for Catholics.
Catholics. It started, you know how I found this out?
How? Jeopardy!
Last night.
Hilarious.
So that's where it started. It started, I believe it was 1967, and the McDonald's came up with this idea so that they could have something for, they knew Catholics wouldn't be coming and eating on Fridays.
Yeah, I boycott McDonald's anyway. So
we're not even going to get into that, but good for you.
Yeah,
good for you.
You can tell people why I boycott McDonald's.
We have discussed this, and it drives me crazy. Thanks. Paul.
Shout out Paul Deese. Deese, we're about to talk boxing, man. So
are we? Because you didn't get back to me on what we're talking about.
I had a morning.
I even had to. Did you see me? I ghosted.
Yeah, but Johnny, you can't send a ghost emoji after 10 minutes.
It was not 10 minutes. It was an hour.
No, it wasn't.
It was an hour.
All right, I'm gonna look at my phone now between Texas. So
wasn't it an hour?
Oh no, that's not you. Let's see, Johnny. Just to prove you. So you sent me a text at 11:14, and then you sent me the ghost emoji at 12:03. Less than an hour.
Just under an hour.
Less than an hour.
Yeah, but I'm asking you a question about topics.
I know, but I didn't even see it, dude.
Oh, okay,
I didn't even see it.
But
you know how I respond. You're the one who goes. You'll ghost after a phone call, man,
Chris,
and a message.
Chris,
yes.
Can you hear who's saying this?
Anyway,
I can't do this with you anymore.
Okay.
Oh, so Lent.
Yes.
So basically, everybody's asked to sacrifice something.
Okay.
So you try to do something for 40 days. Some people say no candy. Some people do.
So you basically sacrifice something.
You sacrifice, or you can do, nowadays, the other thing now, before it used to be people like, oh, I'm not eating meat, or I'm not eating any salt, and I don't have to get it, whatever.
No.
But what's changed is you can do something. You can either volunteer, you can also do things like that, or you can do something better for yourself, like start working out.
Can I ask you this? And I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
Who comes up with the rules to say, oh, now you can do this instead of that? Like who is it voted on by the Pope? Does the Pope say, hey guys, you can volunteer instead of, like, how do you?
That probably came from either the Pope or the Cardinals years back. But I know, what's interesting now too, even my parents, who are in their early 80s, they don't have to worry about sacrificing and giving stuff up. Like for Lent, if they don't want to, they did this thing years ago for like seniors. Because I guess people were older people were like, not eating this, not eating that. And some of them were getting sick and getting weak and stuff.
Really?
So they were just like, you know what? Once you're at a 65 or older, or whatever it was they came up with, but people, there's long traditions in the Catholic Church that have been around for obviously centuries and centuries. And yet it's also, a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of evolution, a lot of evolving that's happened through the years. They're not as strict, because I think a lot of people were, I remember back in the 80s, dude, a lot of people were leaving the Catholic. They were tired of like these old rules.
It's interesting.
I mean,
I've studied lots of different religions. Catholicism isn't really one that I, got into for whatever reason. So it was a legit question. That's interesting. Yeah. So where does the ash on the forehead come in? What is that? What's that?
You know what? Good question, dude.
But isn't it interesting? Not trying to mess with you, but like there's certain things that are tradition that sometimes you realize you do, and you go, why do you do that? You know what I mean? It's like, I've just been doing it all my life. Like no one really. Well, I'm kind of
spacing right now because I know I've known this, but I feel like I'm spacing right now. And actually, I should have been prepared because I knew I was going to say Happy Ash Wednesday. Because last night was, Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras. Mm-hmm. So everybody, went haywire last night, I'm sure. But,
okay.
Yeah. I'll look it up.
Yeah,
maybe I'll look it up.
We'll revisit it.
Somebody will probably bring it up or something like that.
We'll revisit it.
Yeah,
Paul
There's
D's.
always that thing with you've got fish that is, for some people they're like, that's seafood. It's not red meat or poultry.
Okay.
Or pork. So that's the difference with the fish thing. Yeah, you can get a fish steak because, you can even order fish and it'll be under like a steak or whatever, but that's considered seafood.
Oh, got it.
Not red meat, pork, or poultry.
Interesting. All right. Well, your week was good. You did a gig down in San Diego,
Oh,
right?
yeah, man.
Escondido, right?
Escondido.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, down in Escondido. That's what I was calling
You're gonna lose those Latino tours doing that, man.
Yeah. No, they loved it out there.
Are you still looking for some Latino tours?
Man, I'm glad you brought it up, eh? Hey, you know what? Listen, I'm looking for some Latino promoters for Latino tours for 2020. And that's 2020, homie. So give me a shout out here, either on the Best of Everything, or you can hit me up on hashtag 2020, bro. We're going to make it happen. The biggest Latino tour ever to be Latino tours. Make sense?
Anyway, dude. Did you, so how did the gigs go?
I like this better.
What was the name of the club that you worked?
Oh, yeah. If you guys are out in that area near San Diego, the Grand Comedy Club in Escondido.
All right. Okay. All right.
Well, every time you ask me, I have to do it that way. They do shows. Club opened 3 months ago. A guy named Adams runs it. It's only Friday and Saturday night. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. That's it right now. And great crowds. Very, very affordable. It's just $15 cover, man.
No drink minimum?
And 2 drink minimum.
Oh, okay.
But
$15 is cheap for a comedy show.
Dude, to get headliners at a $15, on a room for $15, especially out in that area, I would jump on that now as audience members because, that's going to change eventually.
Yeah.
He's going to have to put the price up later on. But
one thing I always say, now we're in an era where people love to watch things online. A lot of people don't like to go out. And especially with comedy, if you ever have the opportunity or if you're ever on the fence on whether you should go see live comedy or watch it online, you should go see live comedy. I think there's nothing like it. As much as you might enjoy somebody online on YouTube or whatever, seeing them live, if they're good, is a whole nother level of experience. And I think sometimes, you can trick the audience online You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, and you can't. And number one, with watching, just so everybody understands too, on with some stuff online too. A lot of times, the audience, they'll know people are taping, or they know somebody's setting up something, or sometimes, some comics edit and pad the laughs.
Of course.
So it's just not the same. I even asked the people. I was like that because They have never had a comedy room or comedy club in Escondido. So I asked them, so it's all new to them, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, guys, isn't this better than anything you've gone to see or streamed on Netflix or whatever? And they were just like, they went crazy. Nice, bunch of nice, friendly, rich white people. I mean, can't ask for more than that, right? So the early shows were like predominantly white, which was this early 7 p.m. show. You know what I mean? They're all a little bit older, some older people in there as well. And then the second show was all the minorities coming in.
Well, all the blacks and Latinos.
And then you had a sprinkle of whites. So there was more blacks and Latinos on the second show, less whites, but it was reversed on the.
But you had a good time.
I did too. They were great. They were great. And you're going to be doing it. I already talked to the guy about you, so we'll work on.
Okay,
I'll give you the info and all that stuff.
I hope he can afford me.
I think it's one price fits all.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Well, you know what, man? You don't have to do it, dude.
I mean, you know what, Johnny? For you, I'll do it, man.
No, you do it. You do it for you. You need more work than just Ruby Tuesdays. And where are you gonna? And where are you gonna be performing at the Grand when you go to Grand? What city?
What
if you do it? It's in what city?
Escondido.
All right. Oh yeah, Andre, go Raiders. Go Raiders.
Yeah, absolutely,
Andrea.
go Raiders. I mean, yeah. I mean, Johnny. Sometimes it just, with doing the sold out show on Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, for
Kim.
Kesha, Kim.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
Right. Well, but they were there to see him, not you, right?
Yeah,
that's why it was sold out.
I was like, like when you open your bag, when you go through drive-through and there's an extra, order of fries in the bag that you didn't order.
That extra.
That was me.
Isn't it better though when you go through you get that curly fry or the
onion ring?
Or the onion ring. So you were the onion ring.
I was the onion ring and the fries.
And that extra large batch of fries.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, but this weekend, where was I this weekend? I had a couple of spots in town, and then the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight.
Oh, by the way, for anybody
and
who
I'm not
just
wearing this for Tyson Fury. I'm wearing this for Iron Mike Tyson.
Well, Tyson Fury was named after.
I know.
Okay.
I know, but I don't want people to get confused.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I was rooting. I'm a root for the brother. So I was.
I know. You don't have to do that all the time.
Yes, I do.
Well, my dad always rooted for the Mexican boxer all the time.
Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here's the thing about Deontay Wilder.
I think the only one I always had difficult backing was Hector Camacho.
Oh, you didn't like the Macho Man?
He's
too flashy for you?
Yeah, too flashy.
Oh, okay.
But he was great.
Well, here's the thing about Deontay Wilder. I think people who really understand boxing or really watch boxing, like he's not the most technically sound guy.
Right.
But that right hand that he has is unbelievable. I mean, it's an equalizer. He catches you with that right hand. It's over. So going into the fight, especially after seeing the first fight, you kind of felt like, okay, he knocked Fury down twice, I believe.
Yeah.
Fury got up and, got a draw.
Yeah.
But to get a draw after getting knocked down twice means that when you're on your feet, you pretty much dominated.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because and Fury's a good boxer, man.
He's a really good boxer.
Yeah.
So going into this fight, your mind tells you Tyson Fury is the better boxer.
Wow. My buddy Richard Chores was at that fight. Okay. I didn't know that.
He's the better boxer. But, when you watch Deontay, you go, but that damn right hand, if he catches him with that right hand. It's just amazing what Fury said. He's going to put on the weight.
Yeah.
He was going to come in and he wasn't going to back up.
Right.
And he was going to go total. And he did exactly what he said he was going to do.
But here's the thing, too. He came forward. That's a lot of weight, man.
Yeah.
So
but he walks around heavy too. That was the key, for him. Some people put on weight, like when Mikey Garcia, Mikey Garcia, he's a great fighter. He came to Ruby Tuesdays and we talked about the fight that he lost about with Earl Spence. And I was like, yo, man, props for you going up in weight to fight Earl Spence. He was like, yeah, man, I want to take a challenge. He was like, he was just too big for me. And I put on that weight. And he's like, I shouldn't have put on that weight because I wasn't used to carrying that weight. I just felt sluggish. I didn't feel as fast. He felt like he'd have been better off going in smaller and being quicker. But against Earl Spence, even if he was lighter, Earl Spence was still bigger, stronger, and faster.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So that you brought up a good point because, Fury announced he was gonna put on the weight. Mm-hmm. He's comfortable in it. He's been over 300 pounds. He said he's fought at 300 pounds before at some point, I guess he said. So to go 273, he was like, and then this was the interesting part that I saw a lot of the sports boxing analysts talking about. Uh-huh. Then Wilder put on weight. So he went up 231.
Yeah.
Now that to me, because I feel like he did look sluggish, and I'm wondering for someone like that, even that 10 to 12 extra pounds, dude. I mean, that's quite a bit.
It was actually more than that.
It was more than 10 to 12.
Because I think the last fight he was 213 or something like
right.
that.
So he went up a lot of weight. They're kind of going, oh, is he falling into Fury's trap, which is,
mind games.
Hey, he's going up. You better bulk up.
Yeah.
Right? The thing, and you have to remember this too, dude. If Fury came in at the weigh-in at 273, that means the night of the fight, he was probably 285.
Could have been.
Because they put the weight after the weigh-in. Granted, I don't think Deontay put on more weight. I feel like he looked like he was right around
what he was.
231, 235. And what's his name looked even, and he bullied him, dude. Like they were talking about him leaning and that dude he's wearing him out. Even with the weight difference, it was just a lot.
It was just so interesting because I think up until that point, I don't think Wilder had ever been down in a fight.
Right.
So to get beat up the way that he got beat up,
he was shaky after that first knockdown.
Yeah, when he hit him,
right back here.
Yeah, that equilibrium.
Yeah, dude, his legs were shaky. You could just see he just had and his corner is giving him nothing. Come on, man, just get back. You got this. You've got to find. You have to pinpoint the strategy. You can't just tell. Well, unless they were just thinking. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. But unless they were just assuming he gonna catch him with that right.
Oh, I think when somebody like he had a 95% knockout rate. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And he's had over 40 fights, so I think it was very easy for his team to get lulled into. It's like
totally.
If you've had, I think what was he 42-0,
41-0, and
so you figure you go into a fight like that and you go,
or 41 knockouts.
Yeah, I can't
remember. What was his record though?
I think he was 42-0-1. I think with
because
40
he
knockouts,
had one
that
went the distance. I think, but 41 knockouts. That's crazy.
So when you are accustomed to that being, the result. I think,
and a lot of them early.
Yeah, and I think his trainer's probably he's going to catch him with the right hand. He's going to catch him with the right hand, and he did not catch him with the right hand.
No, man.
It was crazy to see the fight. Here's one thing that I don't like, though. And I know it's hard when your ego is involved in it, but I just don't understand when somebody goes, hey, man, I lost. I'm not going to make any excuses. I mean, my leg was hurting. It was a problem before I came into the ring, but, I'm not going to make any excuses. I'm going to take a loss at a man, well, I did have some problems in training camp, coming into the fight, but I'm not going to make any excuses. Like, you're making excuses.
Yeah.
Just say he got me tonight. He was the better man.
He said that he said it after all the excuses.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to take away from him.
After you take everything away from him. But a lot of boxers do that. And I'm sure because, to be a fighter, you have to have a sense of pride and a willingness not to lose and all these things. When you're
especially him, dude, that was because I just think that wasn't he? Well, the odds were with Wilder, right, to win. Or were they real close, huh?
The odds are real close. I want to say,
Or were they? Was it?
I want to say Fury was slightly ahead, closer to the fight, like
3 to 1, I guess.
Like
and
that.
he was what's his name was 5 to 1, I think maybe. But it was exciting. Although to me, from the third round on, it was pretty one sided. But I think people were waiting for the landing of Wilder.
Yeah,
that he might get that right in there.
But what's interesting in watching Deontay fight? Like, here's a guy who knocks everybody out, right? But I don't know, man. When I think of Mike Tyson in his heyday, it just seemed like there was no more feared fighter than a Mike Tyson. Like, people, like, you could tell people were afraid of him before. I don't get that sense from Wilder. I think people know he has power, but I don't see people afraid.
A lot of boxers said that they felt like they were confident that they could hang or handle with Tyson, right, Mike? A lot of them said when they stepped in the ring when they saw him across.
Yeah,
I guess they just really. They could just see his shoulders, they were like, he had a look in his eye like he was gonna kill us. Yeah. and that's when, and you could see it in boxers once they got in the ring, and you could just see the difference. Prior to that, at the weigh-ins, I mean, they saw him at the weigh-ins, but I have heard some of these guys say, when I got in that ring, man, oh damn, I was like, this dude is coming to kill me.
Yeah.
And I just feel like he was
just intimidating,
and
how he dressed too. I mean, it was very plain. With the towel, cut
old
out
school,
over,
dude.
And his walk to the ring was like, I'm about to come, blast this dude,
and you got to remember, Iron Mike it wasn't just about his right hand; it was his hooks and his uppercuts.
His movement, man.
And his movement was so fast that they just never knew where it was coming from, man. He was so great to watch.
A lot of people point to, obviously, when he lost to Buster Douglas, as the downfall.
Yeah, he was a lot of personal things going on.
But I think when Kevin Rooney left his camp, who was with Customato in his original team, I think you saw, I began to see a change in the way that he fought. It wasn't as much movement as he had before, because he not only did he have the power.
That was another example of them going, look at the odds on that one, dude. Yeah. The odds on that one were 50 to 1 that Douglas would win. That was another one going, look, knock this one guy out in preparation for Holyfield. Yeah. Right? He was preparing. So that was one of those, Mike gonna knock him out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, he didn't really prepare for Buster either. And Buster...
Well, during the whole Buster thing, when you watch documentaries about it, he was partying. Yeah. He didn't think he had a chance. You know what I mean? Like, they knew there was a change. But I just think in his training, when you don't have that consistent voice, especially when you're young, especially when you don't have that discipline, it's going to cost you. You know what I mean? Especially when you finally find somebody who's going to stand up to the bully. And that's kind of what happened as he didn't, employ the same technique. Paul Dees just said, Liston, no fighter was more feared than Liston. Yeah, he was definitely one of the most feared. I mean, if you had a list of some of the most feared fighters of all time, I mean, obviously Liston's on that list. Mike Tyson is on that list.
Hey, dude, in the day,
I think Ken Norton was a feared fighter.
Yeah,
at one point.
Listen,
George Foreman.
Foreman was
early in his career was a feared fighter.
Dude, a lot of guys did not want to get in the ring with Marciano either, man, because of how hard that guy hit. Yeah, that it's interesting to hear those boxers of the day say that he hit so. And remember, he was a light hit. He was only 189 pounds, and he wasn't even a true heavyweight. He was fighting guys 212, 215, 220. And some of them said, like Archie Moore and all these guys said that he hit so hard that the punches to their arms made them eventually bring their arms, and that they would be bruised their bodies were bruised for, he was definitely feared as well. But that whole, like you were talking about with Tyson and that you see in the documentaries, there was so much going on. And Buster, on the flip side, was like, he was so determined. He was doing this for his mom. It just, everything lined up for him that night, man.
Yeah.
So, and he did. And by the way, I feel like after that happened, a lot of the other guys watched that fight and went, if you keep your distance and you keep that jab in Mike's face, there was a what do you call that? What's the word? There's a something for it. In other words, there's a that's the
formula.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's a formula, and if you look at guys that ended up winning, and it was similar to what Buster Douglas did, manhandling him, shoving him back, keeping the jab and distance.
I agree with that 100%, but I still think because of the change in his training, his approach, let that formula, like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, he's not doing this anymore, so this is the formula to beat it. I just think he got away from his fundamentals. Stan just said Don King ruined Mike Tyson. There's a lot of things, I think, involved in that. I don't think Don King was the sole source of that. He's a fight promoter, you know what I mean? And I just think the people around Mike Tyson, including Don King, I think was a perfect storm that just had him off mentally. And you got to think, this is one thing that we all forget, man. And we see it in sports a lot. You're giving people who came from nothing.
I was going to say that
millions and
next.
millions and millions of dollars. And then being the heavyweight champion in the world is another level. It's
especially
great.
in America, especially here.
Especially in America, man. Even around the globe. People respect the heavyweight champion. Like we don't give like there's fighters out there that fight in Germany and just fight in their countries, and no one cares about them.
Yeah.
When you want to make it in boxing,
you don't care about the Argentinian champion, heavyweight.
They all got to come to America at some point. You know what I mean? Like they all.
Yeah. Hold on one sec, because I want to tell you, because I've been meaning to tell you this. Where I trained in Tulare, where I trained in Tulare.
When you're 7 years old?
8 to 14, by the way. Anyway, so my buddy Richard Torres, he continued his dad's legacy of his dad Manuel started the gym. Richard's son now. I'm going to give you some information, Stan. I knew this, but I couldn't word this properly. But he's Richard Torres Jr. out of my hometown Tulare. He's the 4th or 5th ranked heavyweight amateur boxer in the world. He's a heavyweight he's a heavyweight on the U.S. Olympic team, and he's captain of the U.S. team. He'll be in Argentina. I didn't even know this. He will be fighting in Argentina at Ernest Post in the Olympics. He won a bronze in the Pan Am Games, so he's vying for the Olympics. This out of my hometown.
How old is he? I wonder.
20 or 21.
It's interesting because go ahead.
Yeah, but he's a lot of times Richard will put on Facebook that he's fighting. We can stream it, and then I'll watch later, dude. He's really, I think he's up there more of a super heavyweight. I thought he was up there like a 240 something, 250, but
you're talking about an amateur.
Yeah. But he's quite a bit of amazing knockouts, and those are just 3 rounds too, by the way. So we'll be pulling for Richard. Hopefully he'll get to the Summer Games, and
well, there was a lot of criticism
and put Tulare on the map. Besides yours truly.
Okay. Anyway, there was a lot of Mark Breland, one of Tyson Fury's trainers. Right. I mean, not Tyson Fury's trainers. One of Deontay Wilder's trainers. He got a lot of flack for throwing in the towel in that fight.
Oh,
and people act like,
dude,
like he isn't qualified. I mean, he was on the Olympic team. He was a world title holder. I believe Breland won a gold medal in the Olympics.
Oh, it was Breland?
Yeah.
What's his first name?
Mark Breland.
Yeah, Mark Breland, of course.
He was.
Oh, I didn't realize he was in his.
He's Deontay. He's one of Deontay's trainers.
Oh, yeah.
And the other trainer was like, I would have never thrown in the towel. And it's like, hey, dude, this guy has actually been in the ring. He's fought at the highest level. Dude. I think he was a 2-time world champion, as a professional. And he was an Olympic gold medalist. By the way, and he's a good trainer.
Deontay was about to get level, dude, when they threw in the towel. He was stumbling. He was out of it, and Fury was getting ready to walk, and he was in the corner.
Yeah.
So you know what's going to happen.
He was in the corner most of the fight, man. Dude, it was just
there was going to be some heavy lumber coming down on that guy, and all it takes is that one extra shot. He wasn't doing anything since round 2, in my opinion. Once he got knocked down, it was over, man.
And people got to realize, the one trainer to
201, super heavy.
To the one trainer to me to keep saying, I wouldn't have thrown in the towel. Deontay's a warrior. This, and that. Yeah. You're saying that now, but there's fighters who have died.
Recently. That's what I'm saying. There's one extra punch that they get hit and they're in a coma and everything changes, man. I mean,
and some people get beat so badly that they're never quite the same afterwards. Even when they recover, they're just never the same fighter after. So I just think for the other trainer to kind of criticize the trainer, like
who was not a boxer.
Who was not a boxer. Yeah. I'm not saying that you have to be,
of course,
have had to be a boxer to be a good trainer, but you got to care about the fighter, man. And Deontay is going to fight another day. He had his excuses. He has the rematch. Like, out there on the title. Come on, dude. Tonight is not your night.
Yeah.
And we'll get this, we have a rematch clause. We'll put in the clause, and then we'll come back and fight another day.
And by the way, you could even tell in his interview after, he wasn't that upset about it.
Yeah.
The throwing in the towel. Yeah. You can always tell, like, man, I don't know why people will go to, it's like they're in the courtroom fighting for the, and they'll just be like, man, I'm just upset. I got to talk to my corner about this. But he was just like, hey, I wish I hadn't thrown in the towel. But, you could just tell, dude, he was glad that fight was over.
Yeah, he
was glad it was over, dude. He was getting beat, man, and you could just see that look in his. You could see the look in his face, right, in his eyes.
Oh yeah.
He was. You know what he was doing at that point? He was just trying to avoid getting hit.
Yeah.
He was not going in for the kill.
He was beat up, man. Yeah. He was beat up, and that's one thing.
And I apologize to all my opponents growing up because that's how I made them feel. So apologize to those guys. I'm sure some of them have permanent damage to this day. Poor guys. I'm sure some of them couldn't even be husbands and fathers, you know what I mean?
So you really hit hard as an 8-year-old?
You'd be surprised. When I was 8, I was told I hit like I was 12. How about that?
Anyway, man.
Ask Richard Torres. Anyway.
Of course, Richard's going to co-sign for you. I would love to see. Too bad there wasn't no footage back in that day.
I only have one fight. Out of all those, my dad only shot one, dude, on 8mm. And guess what?
What?
I got stopped in the second round.
That's the only footage of you fighting is you getting stopped in the second round.
My dad had that. My dad was so busy either gloving or in our corner that he wouldn't bring. And one time my uncle came, Uncle Nick came, and my dad goes, "Oh, you're gonna come? Why don't you film Johnny and so I can get some footage on him? Like finally." And I got stopped in the second round. Stomach, gut punches.
Really?
Yeah, knocked the wind out of me like 3 times.
And you just...
And the last one, my mouthpiece flew out.
And you just took a knee?
I couldn't breathe. So the ref stopped it. I couldn't even breathe, dude. And I remember my dad going, I don't even understand how that's possible. At that time, we're doing, hundreds of sit-ups, dude, a day.
I've never in my life wanted a time machine so bad. To go back to that moment.
I shouldn't even have told you that. Because you know what? Now you're going to bring that up all the time.
See you get knocked out by
I didn't
gut
get knocked
punch.
out. I got stopped. It was a TKO. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Did you go down to your knees when he hit you in your stomach?
I did not go to the ground. I did not. But I was just buckled over on the ropes.
And then what? He started hitting you in your face, and then the referee waved it off.
I had gotten a standing 8 the first round with the stomach shot, and this kid. And looking back,
did you not do any sit-ups?
No,
or,
you know what's that's what my
before?
Dad was talking about. My dad was going. I remember even to this day when we talk about it, my dad will go.
Still mad.
My dad will go. I don't understand. You guys were doing hundreds and hundreds of sit-ups a week. You couldn't have been in. I mean, I had a washboard stomach. When you're a kid too, dude. It's like, and. He's just like, I don't get it. But I remember when I watched,
just hit hard, man.
When I watched it, you know what it was? This kid was very unorthodox. He was really awkward. He was an awkward boxer. And I was, coming in, we were trained real, we were very stealthy. That we all had that similar style at that boxing gym, and so I'm coming, and we watched it, and I even watched it. We watched it later on, not maybe 10, 15 years ago, and the kid when he would punch, and they were very wild, and then his uppercut punches just came like out of nowhere. Like roundhouses and whatever, and it was the only time I ever got caught and stopped in the stomach.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking no air, dude.
Well, I played football, so I know what it's like to get the wind
and you
knocked
also
out of you.
fell at playground at recess as a kid. Didn't you ever fall and knock the wind out of yourself? And
No.
See, I did that a few times too.
No. I remember.
Well, maybe I had a condition.
I remember playing. Playing ball and getting hit, and that was like the first time. And people who've never had the wind knocked out of them have no idea what that feeling is like. It's just like this sudden, like you can't breathe. You feel like
your air is. Yeah, but that didn't happen to you.
When
as
I play ball, I knocked the wind out of a lot of people, man.
Oh, here we go. Oh, I can't brag. I can't brag about me doing well.
I'm not bragging. I'm just making a factual statement here, Johnny.
You know what? I'm gonna find that photo of my trophies.
Really?
Send it to Chris.
I should bring. You know what I should do? I should find some of my recruiting letters. When I was being recruited by.
Yeah, we've discussed this.
Oh, we have.
Yeah, and then some dude hit you at the end of the season, and you had to go to El Camino Real. El Camino Real.
No.
Yeah, you did. You got
Put
hurt.
the Real.
Quick.
No.
That white boy put you on your backs.
No, never that. And that was another thing, though. just on the black tip.
Well, it is Black History Month.
Yeah.
So we're gonna let Ruben do it this month.
Yeah.
Not all year.
Yeah. When Fury beat Deontay, man, it was a little.
That's harsh. I saw people post that. It's
little disappointment in the community.
Do you think they set that fight up during Black History Month
on purpose?
Yeah.
No, I just think
you don't think so.
No, I just think it happens. But you have to understand. I think.
I don't know.
I think when you're
black guy, white guy, Black History Month,
because
he's foreign,
especially in America, I think everyone's still looking for the great white hope. Because in the history of boxing, there's only been a few white. Like maybe two.
Well,
or three.
back in the
Well, when we're not counting before they let blacks fight. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm talking about once black people.
Yeah, after Marciano, there was guys like what's his name? Clooney? No, Cooney. Yeah, remember Cooney in the 80s?
Yeah,
he was supposed to be this. Yeah,
there's
he
always
he had a great knockout punch though.
Yeah. And then he got smashed by Larry Holmes.
Yeah, he did.
And then there was the other guy, Tommy Morrison.
The
one who ended up getting AIDS, I think.
Yeah, that was a rough one, man. He had potential too, man. He definitely had.
But I think and I remember this, and I won't say his name. I remember growing up, I had a friend who boxed, and there was a big fight, and the whole hood went to go see him fight, and he was fighting a white dude.
Yeah.
So we automatically was like, man, he about to kill this white boy. That white boy beat his ass. And just the hurt. It was for him, I'm sure. Yeah, it was like it was like he had 5 losses just from that one dude. And I know there's a part of Deontay, even though,
you shouldn't look at it like that.
You shouldn't look at it like that. Yeah. But it's
but
just,
wait a minute, isn't Fury Irish?
Yeah,
he's Irish, right? From Ireland, right?
Yeah, he's a gypsy. I'm not sure what.
Well, they say gypsy,
I know he spent a lot of time.
How did he have the clover? Somebody out there know?
I know.
I mean, because Irish, that's a whole different. That's different. That's a different white boxers fighters.
Yeah, but
come on, man. Irish fighters they're great.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, when you're black, you're just like, we don't give a damn if you're Irish, if you're British, if you're from the U.S. We're supposed to win that fight. I mean, whether that's I'm not saying it's fair. Yeah, I'm just saying that's the mentality.
But it does sound, now that you bring it up, it does sound a little set up that the two fought during February.
Yeah,
to me.
Yeah. So here's a question. I don't know if we've ever discussed this. Who's your favorite fighter of all time and why?
Oh yeah, not heavyweight, right?
Just fighter.
Um,
Or do you have one?
That's hard, dude. There were so many that came through. Alexis Arguello was so fantastic to watch, and so was Salvador Sanchez, not because of his last name, but I enjoyed Roberto Duran. Heavyweight wise, growing up as a kid, I was a Ken Norton fan.
Really?
More than Ali and Foreman and Frazier.
Why Norton?
My dad liked him. My dad liked his
Afro?
boxing, his style, and my dad loved that he was so built. Because my dad was bodybuilding at that time, and my dad's like, "Dang man, this guy, dude, the physique. Remember the V back that dude had? His
dude.
back looked like a freaking king cobra when it flares out."
Yeah.
And I liked his style. I liked Ken Norton's style. And Ali, I grew to like Ali years later. I told you the talking and the big mouth stuff at that time was annoying to a lot of you know what I mean? And my dad
If you weren't black.
I get probably.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
'Cause
probably. I didn't even thought about it like that.
Yeah, I just think on the social aspect of what he represented, like even for my family who wasn't really into boxing, I think even my parents understood what he represented culturally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
and
dude. As I went back and looked, I have a whole new.
Of course, obviously,
dude.
But I mean, you're a kid. You know what I mean? We were kids
exactly.
at that time, so I just think in a time where, and the reason why I buy so much Muhammad Ali stuff, in my opinion, was he the greatest fighter? Just if we're thinking boxer of all time, no. But what he represented and what he had to go through is why he's the greatest. And for somebody to be outspoken in the 60s, where it's like where black people were, can't look white people in the eye and all these things, to be on a platform and to, become, Muslim and change his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Like all those stuff were really significant, profound
and
things.
to not go into the service.
Exactly. When he said Viet Cong, they ain't never done nothing to me.
Yep.
I come home to, in this country, I'm not even treated fairly. And you want me to go and fight people who have not, you know what I mean? There was just so many things that he stood for. And to have to fight during that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one thing to be a black fighter in a racist, very like openly racist era.
Sure.
But to verbally confront them and then go into the ring and back it up, to me is just extraordinary, man.
Yeah.
To have to back it up. Like what did he says? It's it's not bragging if you can back it up.
Right.
And what he did to Sonny Liston, his wars with Frazier and Norton and Foreman.
Oh, the Norton ones
what
too,
I mean?
dude.
And for a guy to fight the style that he fought,
And-
because he fought, like a lightweight. You know what I mean? On his toes, jamming, boom, boom, boom. Like he was just,
dude. Nobody had seen that when he came along as Cassius, and it was so different. And in my opinion, he did two things for boxing. Now, if there's somebody that knows of somebody else that did this prior to Ali, Cassius Ali, then please, you can educate me on this. But number one was he made the jab a weapon. He was, prior to him, boxing was, the jab was the setup, for the heavy. Everybody was relying on their rights and their hooks and uppercuts, but the jab was not what it was. He made it a complete weapon by snapping it out. Multiple jabs at a time, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5 jabs right in
yeah.
somebody's face. It was so and the other was the lead right.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one that would start. He started doing a right lead without having to have a jab first.
Yeah.
If there was somebody before, then let me know.
Yeah.
But I'm talking heavyweights, by the way.
And I mean, you're going by your memory. You know what I mean? Also, so I loved him for a lot of reasons. But probably my favorite fighter, because I got a chance to see him fight live so many
Pipino
times.
Cuevas.
No, it's Floyd Mayweather, man. And I know you you have issues with him, man.
Yeah.
But he's masterful, man. To watch him, to the way that he fights, the way that he can take away what you want to do, and just make like whatever your strength is, he can take that away from you.
He wouldn't have taken it away from me though.
He took away from every. Like, is this amazing?
Yeah, you know, my thing is just so people know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
For me, with Mayweather, the one thing that really irritated me, got under my skin, is that he was a clincher. He was a holder. So it's pop, and then hold, and pop, and hold. So for me, I just could not get into his thing. But go at me. That's fine. That's just my opinion.
I disagree with that. I don't think that was I don't think he fought every fight like that. One thing that was dope about Floyd is I remember watching him when he fought Baldomir.
Pepino Cuevas?
No, Carlos Baldomir, and he broke his hand in that fight. Like you could hear it when he
Mayweather did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. His left or his right?
I believe it was his right hand in that fight.
So his
yeah. And
he's right-handed, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And his uncle was serving a prison term at that time. I guess he had went in or something. And Floyd didn't have a trainer.
Okay.
That fight, really.
Okay.
You know, he had a guy in the corner, and I was blessed enough to be ringside. And, you know, people were like yelling things out to him, and he's just sitting in the corner, not breathing heavy. He's like, yeah. I got like, I don't really need
I see.
a trainer.
Yeah, right.
And one thing that's dope about him when you watch his fights, you know how they always say, oh, most boxers come out, the first round is a feeling out round. And I remember just so many fights going to see him, people would have a strategy and they would come out and you could tell they caught him off guard. And then there's just a moment where you see him, you can really see him.
He
go,
makes his adjustment.
I figured, this fight is over. Like there's a moment where you go, okay, you're not even going to win another round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, to me, that was just impressive. Now, was he intentionally took a knockdown in that to get a which fight are you talking about?
He said he didn't hold Alvarez. Well, I'm not going to get into whether he held or not.
Yeah.
I see holding with the fights that I watch, but clinching.
But a lot of times when you don't like somebody, if you didn't like Muhammad Ali for the talking, I know you didn't like Floyd Mayweather for the talking. So that's gonna.
Oh well, no, that was a different era. By the time he was doing it, that was totally. I mean, you know, that became the norm after all. That's another thing that Ali created, dude. Was the that's what you got. It's almost like you have to give.
Aldiz goes, nope, not true. Liston and Sugar Ray Robinson use their jabs to damage you. And Paul is a boxing official.
Okay,
too. He's
I'd have to watch more Liston. I don't know if he did it the same way. From his hand being down. Maybe I should have been specific about it. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean,
but Ali was doing it with his hands down. He was flicking. It looked like he was flicking, but he wasn't because you know when you see these interviews with Foreman and Frazier, you know when they got them all together for that one documentary, and they were like, you know, it didn't look like he was just flicking that jab out there, but it was. Yeah, and I was talking heavyweights, by the way. Not who else did he say?
He said Liston and Sugar Ray Robinson.
No, Sugar Ray. I had a feeling someone might bring up Sugar Ray. I'm talking heavyweights.
Yeah.
Just because he changed but he made it look like it was nothing, and yet you know the other boxers' eyes were being shut half the time. But you know, I appreciated him way more years later. Who was the other one that I always say did a lot of clean? He even apologized years later. He fought up until he was about 50, like a middleweight, super middleweight, the assassin.
Who? You're talking about
he would towards the end of his career, he even said,
"You talking about Bernard Hopkins?"
Yes, because he knew that he was known. He was very defensive boxer, man.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, he was so hard to get to. So hard to get to.
You know, I think a lot of times the criticism that Floyd gets is he's not an offensive fighter. And people say, "Oh, I want my fighters to be aggressive and go out on their shield and this and that."
Sure.
But boxing is an art form. You're in a square, and it's
styles make the fight.
Style makes fight, and it's to hit and not get hit. And it's always funny, you see these boxers. They always go, a lot of the Mexican fighters like, "Come on, fight me! Don't be a pussy." This and that.
Yeah.
And this was funny. I can't remember dude's name, But I remember him trying to call other fighters a pussy. But when he fought Manny Pacquiao, what did he do? He was trying to move and not, you know what I mean? It's you know what your physical abilities are and your limitations are. If you're not a big guy and a big puncher and you have that defensive skill, like let's say Pernell Whitaker, who's probably the greatest defensive fighter of all time, even
he was great. He was another one. He was great to watch, man.
Floyd. I mean, these are guys that were just so elusive, man, and just the quickness of Floyd. When I think of Floyd Mayweather, I look at him like a child prodigy. Like, you know, you see like the little Asian kid that's playing, you know, Beethoven at 4 years old. And there are athletes that are like that. You know, Kobe Bryant was that type of athlete.
Sure.
Floyd Mayweather they're just gifted. They come up in that family. I don't know if it's in the DNA, but they're just natural fighters.
His dad was.
And one thing that drives me crazy, and I know is just in conversation, but it always drives me crazy when I hear people call boxers scared or a pussy. The worst fighter in the world is not a pussy.
Because he's in there.
Because he's fucking in the ring.
He's in the ring, yeah.
And if you've never been hit or in a fight, like to choose that as a living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Floyd isn't going and trying to knock everybody out, but to call him a pussy. And I remember being at a fight, sitting with Nazim Richardson, I think that's his name. He was Bernard Hopkins' trainer.
Okay.
And I can't remember what fight we were. We were in Carson, and I was sitting next to him. You know, I don't like to, you know, you don't want to bother people or whatever. Yeah. So we're just kind of watching the fight, and I was like, man, you know, say something. I'm a huge boxer. I was like, yo, man, I'm a big fan. And we just start talking, and I go, and he trained Sugar Shane Mosley for a little bit too.
Oh, another one.
And I go, what do you think about Floyd Mayweather? He goes, man, you know the biggest mistake people make with Floyd?
Misconception?
Yeah. He goes, people think he's a pussy. Then they try to pressure him, and he goes, and then that dragon comes out. And he goes, I've seen it. Like, that's why he's a world champion. And when he was in lighter weights, Floyd used to knock people out. And people don't realize, man, he fought guys at 154, you know what I mean, that were much bigger than him. He should probably kept his career at a lower weight, but the money was at 147 for him. Yeah. And he was fighting bigger guys. And people always try to criticize him. But it's like, there's a lot of people who fought at catch weights, you know what I mean? Especially in this era. It was a lot of catch weight fights, you know?
Sure.
So anyway, we said Floyd won matches with brittle hands. That's like a carpenter being a master builder with no hammer. True. Because, you know, he had major hand problems, too, early in his career.
Early on, right?
Yeah. He used to break his hand a lot.
I wonder how, what was it, how did he overcome that? Is that just the rapping, the separate, the different?
Yeah, and then he went to go see, because, you know, HBO had did the behind the scenes, like up into the lead of the fights.
Yeah.
Because he kind of created that whole thing leading up to the fight that HBO and all these other shows do now. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, Floyd is nationally 135-pounder. Exactly, Paul. I know at one point he was getting injections in the hand, and I know in some states that was considered illegal.
Enhanced, like an
and then he went to go see a hand specialist, and they just started, you know, telling him how he should wrap his hand to protect it. You know what I mean? It's not one wrap fits all.
Yeah.
So he just kind of changed that up, and who knows? Maybe that led to him even being more elusive, you know, later on in his career. You know what I mean? To protect his hand. But I just loved watching him fight, man.
Yeah.
You know, what he did to Canelo Alvarez, what he did to Manny Pacquiao, and people always want to make mistakes. It's like the fighters that he fights are washed up when he beats them, but then when they go out and beat somebody else, the fighters all of a sudden are great and we're a challenge. So it's always weird. It's all perspective, and people people take things personally based on how they might feel about a person. You see that in acting or anything. It's funny how a fan could not know somebody and make a judgment, you know what I mean, about him. Like, you go, man, I don't like that guy. Why? You don't like the role he played in the movie, but you just don't like him as a human being just because, Of what? Like, you don't know the guy. You've never met him. How can you dislike somebody? Yeah, and I know you do that a lot too, where you go, I just don't like that guy.
Yeah, but I think all people do that. I mean, I hear people say that with comedy. Like,
I know, I don't get that,
They'll
though.
be like, no, that style irritates me, or his style doesn't, or her voice gets on my nerves, or
I get that, Johnny. But I don't get not like the show is over. Why don't you so you hate me just because of a 20-minute set? You know what I mean? Like that's weird to me how people, and I'm not saying you do that to that extreme, but I know people like, man, fuck that dude. And I go, why? It's like, man, I hated that song. Like, he made a song you didn't like, so now you hate him as a human being. That's always weird to me. With and I guess that's our fascination with celebrities.
Like, people are like,
people take it that personal.
I met this one guy. I used to work with this man. He was an older gentleman I worked with when I first moved out to LA. And, he did not like, he was okay with Bob Hope as a comic, could not stand him as an actor. And I said, really? I thought some of those movies he did, they were really funny. And he goes, no, you know why? He says, because he would break the fourth wall and he would look into the camera and do his eyes and make a funny face. He goes, and it always bothered me that he couldn't just be an actor. He had to be Bob Hope, even in the movie. And I had never really thought about that, And here's a guy. This guy was not in the entertainment industry. He knew nothing. His thing was, why did Bob Hope have to break down that fourth wall, look into the camera, put his eyebrows like that, and then move on into the scene? He's like, so he's not that character anymore. He's just Bob Hope doing, and for that, he was like, cannot stand that guy anymore.
It's
isn't that funny though? But
it is.
I mean, I never picked up on that Bob Hope did that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm surprised my dad didn't pick up on that.
To be honest with you, I like stuff like that when people.
That's funny.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah, we kind of like that.
That's a Mel Brooks kind of thing too. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he breaks those walls down.
Me and my boy Gerard Giller, Gerard,
of course,
and we were talking about comedy, kind of getting back to how people don't like certain comics or like that style, and the comedy sometimes becomes a very personal thing between the comic and the audience.
Yeah.
And it's in. Whether you come from like, man, I had to get a babysitter. I did like, it's all these things. And then this guy didn't make you laugh. And it's like, fuck this guy, man. It's just.
No, here's the thing. We forget all that too sometimes.
Of course.
As comics, we show up sometimes and we're like, or we'll hear some chatter, or we can see some people that's a pain in the ass over there, and we're like, oh God, let me just get these people. And then we forget there's the crappy people, but then there's those other people who paid for babysitters, and they've been saving up for a while to come to a comedy show.
Yeah.
And we can vibe. How about when Ruben and I, we have this thing, man, because every now and then, we work different shows in different cities and whatever, and we'll be working. There's a comic who's just doing really bad comedy. Okay. It's either really dirty and blue and it's thoughtless, low hanging fruit, or it's just really hacky. Right.
Yeah.
And Ruben and I, if the comic is killing, we internally, get mad at the audience. Now, you're not as bad as me. You can kind of shake it off. Yeah. But there's times I'm just like, oh, I hate you guys already.
Because they're laughing at
they're laughing at stuff that, but for some people, they don't. I'm not talking that they need to know the history of comedy.
No.
But some of that stuff, you're just like, really? You don't know that bit? You've never heard that shit?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think we're in agreement with that in a certain extent. The reason why I don't think it bothers me as much is I kind of think like this, like, all right, if they're laughing at that, then hopefully they'll be able to, I can bring them into my world and kind of clean the palate.
The palate, yes.
That's how I look at it.
But sometimes
you don't. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes like,
man. That is one of the worst.
We want to hear more about why white people are different.
We want to hear we want to hear the humping and the, you know what I mean? So, but I get it. It's weird too. Like certain actors just rub people the wrong way, dude. Isn't that crazy? Like you said, they'll be so-and-so. I can't stand him. Why?
And here's the thing, like, there's some people, man, and I'm sure you've had friends and family members say that. It's like some people just want to come out and laugh, man. Yeah. They don't care. You know, I have friends who tell me, it's
but
like,
some come like this too, though.
yeah, I don't understand that. If you're gonna go out to see comedy, you should go out wanting to have a good time.
Yeah.
It's like going to a sporting event. Like when I go to a sporting event, I'm excited to go and cheer my team on. I'm excited to go cheer the Raiders on, or the Dodgers,
or the LA
Lakers.
Wildcats. Correct.
The Dodgers or the Lakers, you know, or even the Raiders. Like I'm going to go root my team on. I don't go in with a negative attitude. And some people go to comedy clubs mad.
Yeah,
why?
I know. With the
attitude.
Yeah.
So when you go out, you know, go out to laugh. Or don't.
Remember I told you about that guy in Long Beach that was sitting in the front with a couple friends, and I noticed earlier he was totally fine, laughing and whatever. And then I got on stage and I just noticed he crossed his arms and he was not laughing, and his friends were. But and then, you know, they're always in the front.
Yeah.
The people who do that sometimes. So we feel it, and you're just like, and I remember I looked at him, I was like, yeah, what's up, dude? You all right? What's the problem? And he said, nothing, man. I just don't like you.
Wow.
And then I was like, what? What do you mean? He goes, well, your hair, the way you're, I don't like you, man.
Wow.
I go, I just got up here. You don't even know me.
Wow, that's so honest,
And
man.
but he was honest, and I go, oh, okay. Well, I go, listen, you can go in the lobby, or you're gonna. I go,
my face probably would have got hot. If he
my face did get hot. Too.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to kick him in his chin. You know what I mean? But I'm just like, that's his. He just wrote me off as soon as I got up there.
Yeah.
Now, you know, a lot of times.
But at least he wasn't disrespectful. Like, he wasn't making noise. He wasn't talking.
Wasn't making noise. He was just like this, but he was in the front.
Yeah.
But I also feel like sometimes, you ever meet somebody that reminds you of somebody that you did not like, and that happens.
I'm sure. I
You know,
can't
because
really
you know how
think
people
of
go,
it.
if you remind them of somebody they love, it's like, I just got to tell you, I love hanging out here. You remind me of my cousin. So okay, it's also on the flip side that happens on the other end. You know,
Yeah.
somebody might meet you. Or me, I don't, you know, and it's just weird. It's sometimes I meet people and I go, oh, this person reminds me of,
you know how, like if I'm on stage, it doesn't bother me. Like, I guess I make up these backstories in my head. So, and that's a technique that you can use comedically, but I won't get into that right now. But you'll see somebody and I will address, I wouldn't even ask them. I'll just say, oh, this person hates me. Whether they do or not. I have no idea. But in my head, they hate me.
I do that. Yeah.
So if they hate me, I don't care. I'll check back with them, you know, just to make it a funny thing.
Yeah.
Just so it isn't awkward. So his anger or his disdain for me at that point doesn't really matter. And I think sometimes you can change them. You know what I mean? I think you could flip them when it's like, you know what? You're not my thing, but hey, man, you was cool. You know what I mean?
Well, and how about this one? How about when there's somebody there and listen, you know, comedy's subjective. So if it's somebody that's not into our shit, they're not into our shit.
Yeah.
They might like someone like a joke teller, like a Fraser Smith or somebody. Maybe that's what they prefer. But it's so weird to me every now and then when you're doing your thing. I'm the same way, like, hey, no, he ain't into me.
Yeah.
And you're like halfway through and you kind of just look over and go, hey, man, you all right? Just checking. And isn't it funny when they go, yeah, man, I love you.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Tell your face and your mouth, and you know what I mean? But some people are like that.
Yeah.
They're enjoying it. They're just not laughers. They're not, you know, they don't express themselves. And that happens sometimes too. So
isn't it hilarious how we went from boxing to now we're talking about people in the audience?
Well, they're very similar.
It is.
Stand-up comedy is very similar to getting prepared and going into the ring. Darn it, I can't find my trophies, man.
Because there aren't any, John.
Yes. You're an asshole. Dang it.
Participation trophies do not count.
No, they didn't have those when I was doing that.
Well,
it was either win or lose.
I would love to get some footage of you getting stopped in the second round as a child. So I'm going to talk to your dad about that.
I have it. I might share it with you.
And when's the show? Is April 4th?
Oh, yeah. April 4th, Tulare Ag Expo.
Okay. I'll be with Johnny on that show
and Darren Carter, the party starter. Yeah, man.
It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's a benefit for the Boys and Girls Club. And you just Google Boys and Girls Club of the Sequoias and their website. And the tickets it's all inclusive with the ticket. That's why the ticket prices are higher than normal. You get dinner and drinks and then wine tasting, and there's a silent auction and then a comedy show.
Oh, okay.
So it's a whole big event.
And tickets are on sale right now.
Tickets are on sale. Just go to, I don't have the link, but it's Boys and Girls Club of the Sequoias.
Okay.
Just Google that, and then you could and I'll be posting more about it anyway, and I'll do the link as well.
And next month I start hitting the road.
Well, you're going to do that show first, I'm in March. In March. That's right. We're not even. Damn, dude, I feel like we're in March already.
Well, you just discounting Black History Month?
Oh,
really?
God,
really? You want to? We have an extra day this year too, and you're just trying to discount it.
Hispanic Heritage Month is October. They give us 31.
Yeah, anyway,
and they throw in Halloween, and they throw in the Day of the Dead as well. Dang it! I couldn't find those trophies.
So anyway,
next week.
So in March 12th through the 15th, I'll be.
Where are you?
I'll be at the House of Comedy in Minnesota.
Oh, you're going back to the Minnesota one.
Yeah. So I'll be there March 12th through the 15th. So if you have friends in Minnesota, have them come out. And I have some other dates, and I'm going to be posting them. But that's my first date, starting to hit the road, and then going through April and May and everywhere else.
And then, of course, Ruby Tuesdays every Tuesday, 9:30 on Tuesdays at the Laugh Factory.
You know so much about a show you never come to. That's really interesting.
Well, I was going to go by last night.
Oh, you were?
Hey, I missed the documentary that I'm in at the Chinese Theater on Monday because of a migraine. Been getting migraine headaches again. So weird.
I wonder why. Maybe.
No, not from drinking. I just getting them.
Whoa.
Well, I know you. I know
I didn't say anything about drinking. Anyway, last night's show was great. Thank
Sherry Shepherd.
Thank you, Sherry Shepherd. Joe McHale.
Oh, that's right. Dang it. I wish I could have seen him.
Dean Edwards.
Oh, I love Dean.
Yeah, Dean is in town.
That's why I wanted to go by. I wanted to see Dean.
Tony Rock.
Love Tony.
Frank Nicotero.
What's up, buddy? Frank.
J. Chris Newberg. I let him. He had to run a set, so he came up and did 5 minutes and ran the light. But I love you, Chris. And then
that does not surprise me.
Leave him alone, man. And also J.F. Harris, a funny comic.
Yeah, okay.
Really funny. Has some really good stuff. He's good friends with Joe McHale. I think he opens up for him on the road.
Man, I wish I could have seen Joel because Joel and I did that benefit, that hostess Twinkie thing. He hosted it.
It was my first time meeting him last night.
He was great, man. Oh, man. I wish I would have seen.
It was a great show. Sherry Shepherd killed. I mean, everybody had a great set. Everybody had a great set. She killed. But I'm very appreciative to her and Joel and to Tony and everybody.
All right, next week.
Who came. Yeah, Paul, please come down, man.
Oh,
please
Paul
come to the
coming
show.
Down?
Yeah. So we do it every Tuesday night, and we appreciate all the support.
And is your lineup set? Do you want to tell people who's coming on next Tuesday, or not quite yet?
Yeah, we could. I have Carlos Mencia next week,
dude. No fucking way, fucker. Fuck.
I haven't seen.
I set it up so I could do that.
I haven't seen Mencia. I know you set up. I haven't seen Mencia in years. I don't really know him that well, to be honest with you. I just got a phone call. I know you know him pretty well,
dude. I fucking known him for years.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a good show. I have Touré on the show, who's out of Philly.
Okay.
Very funny comic. I can't remember the full lineup, but it's gonna be another great show, another diverse lineup with all different types of points of view. That's what Ruby Tuesdays is about.
All about.
Yeah, so it's a fun show. And then whenever you feel like coming to do the show, man.
Maybe I'll swing by. Next week, so I can see your buddy with Carlos, and then he'll be like, "Dude, what are you here for, fucker?" So it'll be great.
You're such an asshole, man.
Well, he used to do titiri, remember?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, happy to.
Anyway, it'll be a great show.
The opportunity. Yeah, here's the thing, man. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. So yeah, it's going to be a fun show next week again. But all the shows are great, and I'm grateful for every comic who does the show.
Yeah, me too.
Paul D says Johnny Sanchez just punched me in the chest. He's dying. He is dying. Paul D's is a good brother, funny brother, man. He's one of those guys that you know, but you don't see a lot, and you go, man, I wish I would see that guy more.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while
But where's he out of?
He's out of here.
Oh, he's out here.
I think he's from Atlanta originally, but just a funny, good dude. The thing that I appreciate about him is he stands up for what he believes in. You know what I mean? He's not a waffler. And even if he might not be right or you might not agree with him, you know, he's open to discussion.
Okay.
Because, you know, I'm the type of person who goes on Facebook and then I read all the comments when some debates go by.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I'm a reader, man.
No, so I always respect it. And then, you know, he's a huge boxing fan. So
obviously, yeah.
Anybody who loves boxing, you know, I love, you know, Tom. We always talk about catching a fight together. So we got to do that soon, Paul. But yeah, man. So that's
well,
it,
we
brother.
can get together and watch my one footage together.
Yeah, me and Paul would be dying laughing seeing you get stopped in the second round.
Yeah, you would.
But shout out D's. Thank you to everybody who chimed in on the live on Facebook. Butch Bradley, what up? Conrad, everybody who chimed in. Yeah. But yeah, so that's it. So
and I'll have my picture of my trophies next week. So you guys
what are you going to do? Photoshop some trophies?
No, they're in. Oh, really?
Yeah,
I have
don't accidentally send us a picture of a Super Bowl trophy and act like it was a boxing trophy.
There's a photo with B in front of them, so that then it won't be Photoshopped.
Oh, well. It's
not anybody can do
trophy.
anything, right? Yeah.
It's not your trophy.
Okay.
All right, guys.
All right, thanks. Oh, geez, I didn't realize we went. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you kind of went. All right. Okay, enough. So you can listen to us on Johnny, you're so irritating, man.
Dude, calm down. Next fucking Tuesday, fucker. Fuck!
Maybe I should just have you on. Maybe you should come on and just do Mencia.
Why don't you just bring me up as Johnny Mencia?
Yeah, man. So, Paul, we got to get you on the show. We got to get Paul on the show, man.
Yeah,
he'd be a great guest, man. But anyway, that's the best of everything with my boy Johnny Sanchez. You can listen to us on iTunes, Google Play,
Spotify,
and
YouTube.
Okay. Anywhere you can find podcasts. I have to cut it off because you're going to say what you always say.
No, I wasn't going to say anything. Goodwill and flea market.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Please tell a friend, share, and that's it.
That's good enough.
We out. Ruby Tuesdays every Tuesday night. Hollywood Laugh Factory, 9:30 p.m. Best show in town. Most diverse show in town. Heavy hitters. We out.
Ruby motherfucking Tuesdays.
This show is all about diversity and bringing everyone together. You never know who you're going to see at Ruby Tuesdays.